Hey guys, Captain Matt here with Captain's Quarters First Class podcast about outdoor lighting. Today on this episode, I want to talk to you about Christmas lights into landscape lights. It is the natural progression that I took, right, from being full time Christmas to moving into full time lighting guy all year round, doing landscape lighting, permanent lighting, and Christmas lighting. What I see all too often is guys who are in Christmas getting into landscape lighting and then utterly flopping, not being able to close deals, saying it's too hard, saying nobody wants landscape lighting. I really want to examine why that is. And a lot of you are not going to like what I have to say. And I get it and I understand it. So, first, we're going to talk about Christmas itself, right? Guys who are selling in Christmas, doing $150,000 a year in Christmas or more, it can be easy, and I know that your pride gets in the way and you think you are an amazing advertiser, an amazing marketer, an amazing salesperson. You're like, yeah, I closed $6,000 job today. Yep, 10,000, 4,000, right? And then you just get this in your mind that you are the most amazing salesperson. The problem is Christmas is built in for you. What do I mean by that? You are building value in your company and the experience only. The value of getting Christmas lights is baked in. It has zero to do with you. You did not invent Christmas lights. You're not new. You're not even doing something different than everybody else. You are the same. You're not original and you're not that great of a salesman. You're selling Christmas lights. Christmas lights are generational. For generations, people have put up Christmas lights. You're hitting on nostalgia. People are brought back to a time. They know the value because every single person has put up Christmas lights before. They know they hate it. They know they hate untangling lights. They know they hate climbing ladders. They know they hate going to take it down after the season. That value and that pain point is already built in. It has nothing to do with you. You didn't do it. You didn't bring it up. You didn't invoke the emotion. It's built in. And Christmas is coming. There is a hard deadline to every single Christmas sale. Christmas is coming. There's Everybody knows it. You don't have to mention it. So then what can happen is you get this cockiness to you, and then you move into landscape lighting and you say, nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to spend $10,000. Nobody wants to spend $15,000. Yet you're closing $6,000, $10,000, $15,000 on Christmas. No problem. Why is that? That is not because people don't want landscape lighting. That's because you're not doing a good job selling. That's because you're not as good as a salesman as you have tricked yourself into believing that you are. How do and why do I know that? Because you haven't built the value of landscape lighting. If a client spends even $4,000 a year for 45 days of Christmas lights, they are qualified to get a landscape lighting package from you. Maybe it's not 50 lights, but there is some value there to them. If they can afford to do temporary Christmas lights, they can afford to do permanent landscape lighting. The reason they don't is because you aren't a good salesman. You haven't built the value. You haven't brought up the pain points. Unlike Christmas, this stuff isn't just known. Christmas lights, everyone has hung them. Landscape lights, most people have not installed them, maybe solar lights. So let's say they've installed solar lights. So now they're comparing what you're doing to how easy it is to stick a solar light in the ground versus Christmas. They're comparing it to untangling lights, ladders, all that jazz. The arguments that happen when you get the family together to decorate for Christmas, the first 15 minutes are magical and then it turns into an argument. Everyone knows this. It's built in. Landscape lighting, most people have not done it, right? You see the difference? The value that you have to bring forth, that you have to plant, nurture, and make them aware of is so much higher on landscape lighting because they haven't done it. The majority of people. Some have hired a contractor, some have hired lighting, some see their neighbor's house. So they're comparing landscape lighting on everyone else's houses to what you want to do. Is that the same? Probably not. With Christmas lighting, they compare what you're going to do to what everyone else is going to do, which is identical. Maybe you do that bush and they do this bush. It is identical. It is lights on a roof line spaced at 12 or 15 inches, and it's mini lights on trees and bushes, and then trees done branch wrapping, candy cane wrapping. With landscape lighting, you can be so wildly different. If you and I show up to the same house, we are going to pitch different landscape lighting designs with certainty. Sure, maybe the uplighting on the house will be identical, but it's going to be different 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100. So then you have that value. If you say, hey, I want you to spend $4,000 on landscape lighting, and they're thinking about 8 lights like their neighbor has, it seems outrageous. Also, what is the deadline? Christmas has a built-in deadline. Landscape lighting does not have a built-in deadline unless they're calling you for a party or something like that. So what you have to keep in mind is that it is super easy to trick yourself when you're in Christmas to think that all sales are that easy. But it really doesn't. It's hard to separate and say, wow, Christmas sale was easy because it's easier. It's we just kind of trick ourselves into thinking, I'm the most badass salesperson ever. Look at the Christmas lights I sell. Well, you just forget all the stuff that I just said. It's not just you. Yes, you're picking up the phone. Yes, you're meeting them. Yes, you're doing, the design rendering and putting the proposal together. But it's built in. The Christmas industry is alive and doing extremely well with or without you, with or without me. It's going to continue, right? So keep that in mind. You have to, when it comes to landscape lighting and you have a Christmas lighting division, you have clients that are ready to spend for landscape lighting if you can show them and prove to them the value of why they want to pay you instead of the $2 Walmart lights. Because it can be very hard. There's plenty of people that are wealthy or that can afford our service that are totally fine with the solar lights because they look nice. Some lighting is better than no lighting. You have to overcome the fact that instead of spending $2 on a landscape light from the Walmart and putting it in the ground 5 seconds to hiring you and paying you $3, $4, $5, $600 a fixture. There's a huge gap versus Christmas. I don't want to climb the ladder. I don't want to untangle the lights. I don't want to store the lights. Right. So keep that in mind. You have to push. You have to have a plan of action, a video, a leave behind, something to continue to build the value to show that person, to trigger that emotion on why they want to hire you for landscape lighting and not just Christmas lighting. Woo. So anyways, get into that. Focus on that. Like, forget the fact that you sell Christmas lights and just said, if I'm only selling landscape lights, how do I sell these people? How do I prove that my costs are in line with what they're going to get? It can be extremely difficult, but you have to take a serious thought and a serious look at what you do, what that process is, what words do you use, what pictures do you use, what emails do you send, what emails, I guess video emails do you send, what text messages do you send, right? They all have to be value building and emotionally connective, because if they're paying you for Christmas, they will pay you for landscape lights if you have a plan and you're able to show them the value, right? They can trust you for Christmas. It doesn't mean they want to trust you for your landscape lights. People bucket that in their head very differently. That's why one of the reasons I changed from Christmas guys to barefoot lighting was because it was hard for people to think the guy that hangs on Christmas lights is actually a lighting designer, because people in their minds, no matter how badass of a job, no matter how clean of an install you do for Christmas, it can be hard when people are constantly reminded. In my case, it was the Christmas guys as the brand name, that you are actually a lighting designer, because they just think, oh, I can put up lights. Oh yeah, I've put up lights. We've all put up lights before. So there can be that disconnect of a professional lighting designer versus a Christmas guy, because there is a difference. But just keep that in mind. Just because you hang their Christmas lights doesn't mean they're going to, and you charge them money, even if it seems like a lot to you, it's not going to elevate you in their minds to being a lighting designer. That's not something that is just immediate. You have to work on that. You have to have a plan for that. Being in Christmas, this is year 16. I know that basically December 15th is when it slows down, right? The few jobs that come in are people that forgot their in-laws were coming, or they're having a party they weren't planning on, whatever. So what is your plan as a Christmas guy from December 15th onward before takedowns start? Like, you should take that time to seriously work on your business. Another thing that happens is you make all this money in Christmas and you kind of take your foot off the gas. It's not time to take the foot off the gas when the money's coming in. That's the time to put on the gas even harder, spend even more money in advertising, spend even more time, networking and all that, so that you can take that trajectory that you're doing for Christmas and start using that momentum that you have to continue into the first quarter, the second quarter, and so on and so forth, so that you don't slow down. Instead of just counting your money, like I have enough to get me through to April, I can kind of take a break. I can kind of relax. No, take this time to, if December 15th hits or you're slow on Christmas, maybe you slow down sooner. What is something, do you have a starter package for landscape lighting that you can offer every single one of your Christmas clients? And what does that look like? Get down nitty gritty numbers, make it something that makes profitable for you and makes it as a no brainer sale for your clients. Because if you can get your foot in the door on the landscape lighting and show them how good it looks, it can open up. People just love lighting. It's addictive. So they can continue to add on. I would spend time to realize or to figure out what that starter package is for you that you can offer to your Christmas clients and literally costing it out. Don't do a per fixture, in terms of, oh, I'm going to do it for 300 a fixture, 400 a fixture, 250 a fixture. Do your costs, know your costs. My guys in Captain's Crew, no, I'm going to say, what's your daily operating? What's your daily operating? Because if I can do 2 starter jobs in a day, I can split that daily operating all over into 2 different clients and still make my money, still make my profit, and be able to bring that price down because I know I can do 2 jobs in a day instead of 1, right? So come up with that starter packages. That's what I would do. Do a deal for it, right? Get so that in January, when you're taking those lights down, boom, you can start either installing or taking deposits for landscape lighting. And for me, I live in New York, so I know I can't really install landscape lights when it's snowing and the ground is frozen, but I can still take deposits. I can still do over the ground installs. And I would like to encourage everybody to get their demo kits ready and come up with a plan, December 15th onward for takedowns. Pick your top 5 clients, your top 10 clients. Have a 8 to 10 light demo kit ready for over the ground install. When you're doing the takedown, install the over the ground install for them as a demo, not hiding the wires, not doing any of that. So when you take the Christmas lights down that night, instead of being dark, they'll have landscape lights. Let them know what that would cost and move on like that. It is worth a test. You all should try it out, see if it works for you. So yeah, again, do not take your foot off the gas when it comes to Christmas time is over. Keep going at it so that you stay busy and that you don't get this wild swing of all the work in the world, no work for 4, 5, 6 months. And oh my God, what am I doing? And then you're just clinging on. I can't wait for Christmas. Oh my God, as soon as Christmas comes, all my financial worries will be taken care of. Like, you have to break out of that. And the only way to break out of that is to not let your foot off the gas when you have that momentum. Because when you have momentum, something happens in your mind where you're able to do more than you are when you're first starting to push that rock back up the hill. Once that rock's moving, everything's easier. So use this to your advantage when you're with your Christmas clients. Start building that value for landscape lighting. Figure out what deals and starter packages where they can get a smoking hot deal. You can make money. Your guys are working. You're paying your bills. And it's just a snowball effect. And every year that'll just grow and grow and grow. Your maintenance contracts will grow and grow and grow. And the add-ons will grow and grow and grow. So keep at it, right? Grind out this time. Don't sleep. I know it's easy when you're going crazy with Christmas that you're like, I'm done with it now. Now I get to relax. Well, I'd encourage you not to relax quite yet. Get that ball rolling so that it doesn't fall back down the hill. Keep the momentum. Have a plan for landscape lighting out of Christmas lighting. What are you going to do? The choice is yours. This has been Captain Matt with Captain's Quarters First Class, a podcast about outdoor lighting. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon.